Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Sasheen. Welcome back to Women in Transition blogcast, excuse me. And today, let's see, let's make sure that my microphone is working, and it is. I see the lovely little, okay, there we go. So, what are we talking about today? Um, I want you to start saying no to some of the self-help that's coming your direction. So it is a time of tumultuousness, and transition. Women in transition, sorry. It's a lovely day here, but it's a little chilly this morning when I'm recording this, so I have my shawl on. So if you don't like women in shawls, you won't like me. Anyway, so there's always a time when we're in a transitionary period, when we're going from one liminal space to the next, where we seek out information to help us figure out who we're supposed to be and to fix what we think of as broken. And so I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about why you need to stop focusing on self help and focus really just on yourself. And I know that's going to sound strange because obviously the idea is that self help is supposed to help you focus on yourself, right? But here's what I want to say to you. And if you haven't hit like, subscribe, and share, what you waiting for? Do your thing. Here's what I want to talk about for the brief time that we were together. And that is so much of self-help for its self-focused is still really other focused. It's focused on fixing relationships and healing the relationships of the past, which are all important things for you to do. And I highly, highly recommend therapy if you can and are so inclined. And I don't endorse talk only therapy because I think that does a disservice to people. And I definitely encourage you to stay away from using AI as your therapist. But I do firmly believe in the concept of therapy and the reality, the practice of therapy to help you navigate some things that you need to navigate, as we move through life. Therapy is a lifesaver for so many people. But what I want to get to is this. Do you know how when you're ready to do something, it seems like everything is about that thing? Say you want to buy a new car, or you're thinking about it, or you've gone and you've driven a new car, and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. It's like a sign from the universe that you're supposed to get this car. This car is coming into your life, right? And it's just because like you focused on it, and now it's all that you can see. The same thing happens for an idea that you might have. You might have decided to lose weight, and then all of a sudden, a program that you've thought about, you're seeing it everywhere. People are talking about it. It's coming up in your Google feed because Google's listening to everything that we say, right? All of a sudden, you're seeing advertisements for that program or that person's program. But really, what's happened is that your attention has simplified. Your focus has simplified, and you've begun to make a choice. And by making that choice, you're now paying attention to yourself. You're paying attention to what you need to execute that choice. And that is what I want you to think about before you reach for another self help book, program, course. Yes, I'm offering one. I get it. The irony does not escape me. But I am looking at the experience that you're going to have in certain self-help realms is not actually the experience that you are looking for. Now, for some people, this message is not for you because what you are looking for is the experience of someone giving you back yourself through their words. I am not looking for that, and I am encouraging you to look at self-help differently. So instead of saying yes to someone's self-help program, and there are so many of them, which is why I'm making this video, because there are just so many voices, right? Voices that don't know what it's like to be perimenopausal, voices that don't know what it's like to have invested in your life for, we'll say 0 to 20 is kind of our parents' investment, but from 20 to 45 to 50, we've got some stuff in our baggage that we understand how to unpack it and what it's supposed to look like in the unpacking. And it's difficult to put that stuff down or to help somebody put that stuff down when your frame of reference is not the same. It's why it's weird when we date somebody significantly younger than us, because we don't have the same frames of reference, even if we're having a good conversation. At some point, our frames of reference have to connect, or we can't connect. And so instead of reaching for the newest self-help thing, and this is really because there's such a plethora of self-help hits the market, but there are tried and true ways to unpack this next chapter of your life in a way that honors who you are and where you're going and what you've been through, right? Because that's so important. So I want you to say no to the invitation to engage in a bunch of self-help stuff as you are working through your life transitions, whatever that transition may be. As you know, I run Life Reimagined workshops, and in those workshops, I ask you a series of questions that I hope are compelling you to think about what your next chapter is. And that workshop is being held again this Saturday. If you are interested in being in that workshop, the link to Joan will be in the description after this video is completed. And I'm only taking 15 people. So if you want in, you'll need to get in. But in the sense that we women of a certain age, we have reached a certain age where our next chapters are going to look so different than that of our mothers and fathers, that generation. We're the Gen X kids. And it's going to look different from the 20s and 30-year-olds behind us. And so much of self-help is recycled from other people. And it's just got a new face on it, but it doesn't really help you. Because if it did, we wouldn't have to keep going back to different people with the same message. Don't get me started on some of the people who are out there, because I try to keep I personally feel no need to tear down anyone else's program. But I also am very clear about, if I'm not the person to help you, there are certain people that I highly recommend that you go read and engage in and be a part of their stuff, because it's good and it's powerful, and the transformation is well, it's what you paid for. It's what you want, right? But so much of the fluff that's out there is dangerous, especially because it doesn't understand or take into account the context in which you were raised. So I want you to think about what it means to say yes to yourself as you are transitioning through whatever point that you are transitioning through. One of the hats that I wear is divorce coach. And one of the things that we talk about in that process of going from somebody's wife, because I only work with the women, to someone, somebody's wife, to someone. And I make a point to have the conversation of, what does it feel like to now be someone, one of one, after years of being somebody's wife, somebody's fill in the blank. And to get that conversation to go deeper, we have to unpack the things that came along with that. We don't dwell in it, because the goal of my divorce coaching is to get you from point A to point B so that you never need to see me again. And I love it when my clients move on because they are happy, whole, and healed, or they've healed to the place where I can get them and now they've moved on to someone else. Because that's what a good guide does. It says, here, let me take you along the path of healing to where I can get you successfully. And then if you need something different than I can I can give to you, I will point you in the right direction. Or, and this is the sweet spot, you don't need any of us anymore. You've got this. You can come back and see me sometime, but you don't have to. But anyway, to go from being somebody something to being someone in the world requires a bridge, a crossing of a bridge that comes with understanding the passage of time, experience, and intuitively getting that we're just different. Gen X women are different women. We grew up in a different time frame. We are so unique in our experience of the world, and no one will ever experience what we have again, because we are the apex, the conflagration of so many storylines in one generation. And then, things are happening before and after. We won't talk about those. But I want you to just think about, what does it mean to be yourself in a time where the world as we know it is going through such a seismic change, and you are at the cusp of the next chapter of your life? What does it mean to look around and start to see different narratives come into focus, because your vision for your life is changing? It is not a secret that I am team, get your passport and get the heck out. Go see the world, even if it's temporary. Give yourself a break. Give your cortisol levels a chance to come down. But I will tell you how many times people go, I got my passport and I've been thinking about, you know, going to Canada or going to Italy or whatever, and all of a sudden everything in my timeline is Italian, has something to do with, traveling to Europe or da da da. Everything when I now see around me where which probably was there before, but now my attention is being grabbed by this idea of relocation. My attention is being grabbed before I would have scrolled through, and now it's like, oh my God, there's like 50 things in my Facebook feed or my Instagram or my threads or whatever your social media poison is of choice that is speaking to this desire. And the reason it's speaking into that desire is because you said yes. You said yes to yourself. You said, I'm going to get myself a new car. I really want a Mercedes. And all of a sudden, they're everywhere, all in every shape and color and size. I really decided I'm going to say yes to myself and buy a vacation home or a second property that I can escape into. And all of a sudden, you're seeing real estate and you're getting you're in conversations with people about real estate in other places and equities and builders and all. Just strange how when we say yes to ourselves and we allow our attention to stop being scattered, we simplify our focus. All of a sudden, the noise just goes away. The din of noise in our head of so many possibilities, so much confusion, and a lot of fear settles down. You don't have to say yes to everything out there. You do need to say yes to being someone of one. And what does one want to do with her time? What does one want to be in this phase of of her life? What does one want to accomplish in this next chapter? What does one want not to accomplish in this next chapter? All of those kinds of things happen or come into focus when you are no longer somebody's anything, but you're someone of one. Someone of one. Um, one of my clients had her wedding dress still after the divorce and was going to turn it into a sundress. And I said, why? Why? What is it about being in this dress that speaks to who you are as a woman? That dress went to a reseller, dropped it off, never looked at it again. We hang on to this idea. This is why I said say no to more self help because a lot of self help will have you sitting in your past for too long. For too long. Again, I am a big proponent of therapy and working through some issues so that you can put them to bed, healing the parts of you that need to be healed so that your present self can be whole and your future self can be happy. I am not a belaborer of the point. I am not a proponent of sitting in that pain for more time than you really need to. And let me tell you something, at 50, we don't need to be sitting in our pain from the age of 10. We need to be working through some stuff and moving on. At 51, 52, 55, 57, 60, 48. What happened to us in our 20s needs to be reconciled so that the woman that we are now can be happy and the woman that we're becoming can be healthy, whole, and secure. But we need to get through it. And a lot of self help keeps you in it for far too long because, yes, you are focusing on the self, but you're more so focused on the help. And you want to be focused on you and how you need to get better and to move on with your life. So, if you are to this day, sorry, I've been up for a long time and it's early and I hate mornings, but since I'm up, I'm doing this. Um, if you are in that place where you're like, I need more self-help, I'm gonna go read the latest book that has come out. I mean, if you're just a reader like I am, you might just read anything that comes along because there's well, not always, but there's usually a nugget, a kernel that you can pull out of most things, good or bad. But far too many of us hide in self-help and continue to be somebody's something. Our identities are continually defined by who we used to be. And I'm asking you to say yes to yourself. Say yes to the possibilities of who you could become or who you already are, but who you can't see because self help keeps reminding you of who you used to be, right? Who are you now that self help keeps reminding you or keeps muting because it's so focused on who you used to be that you can't really just enjoy who you are, right? Mindset, intuition, gut feeling, all of the things that we need and we use as vibrant, connected beings in the world will create a space and a life for you. Self help can help you figure out who you used to be and where you're trying to go, but too much of it prevents you from getting there. So I want you to think about that today as you're going through your day, as you're thinking about what's next for you, as you turn off the news, quit doom scrolling, quit quit engaging in some of the rhetoric, and think about what is what does my life need to look like moving forward? What is my role? I am someone, one of one. I am someone of one. So therefore, what does this one person need to look like? What does my life need to reflect? And how am I going to get there and move beyond the fear, the anxiety, and the complete chaos that sometimes feels like my everyday? If that is the question that you're trying to answer and you're interested in figuring out how to get started, sign up for Life Reimagine. The workshop is this Saturday from not from excuse me 11 to noon Central Standard Time. If you do sign up and you're not able to attend live, you will get the replay available for 48 hours so that you can get a sense of how you can begin to get past this this moment of chaos and anger and uncertainty and un uneasiness, not by diving headfirst into more self-help because there's nothing wrong with you. The world is having a problem. And that is one of the I'm going to leave you with that. When the world is having a problem, it's easy to think, what do I need to fix about myself? What's going on with me because you feel out of control. Your anxiety is high, your stress is high, your sleep is crap, your diet is terrible. You should be doing 50,000 different things, but you can't even focus on one thing because between menopause and craziness happening in the world, the assumption is that something is wrong with you. And I'm here to tell you something's not wrong with you. The world going crazy isn't your cue to go get enrolled into another self help program that isn't designed to help you. It's designed to make you continue to feel like you're broken. The world is not yours to fix. As I point out many, many times, Martin Luther King Jr. didn't set out to change the world. He set out to change his world. And by extension, we were all blessed. So we're going to work on you simplifying your focus, getting you aligned, making sure that you are where you need to do so that as you change your world, whoever's around you will be blessed in the process. But most importantly, you will be blessed in the process. That's it. I gotta go. It's Dr. Sashini. If you're able to join me tomorrow for a tea break at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be live having a cup of tea and just hanging out. Come hang out with me. Take care. Bye.